Fantasy Hockey Picks and Bets, presented by Prize Picks, here on the Mayo Media Network. I am Matt Moody, joined by DJ Mitchell to walk through game by game, Tuesday, March 2nd, NHL slate. So, DJ, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I mean, I'm still preparing for our NHL Top Shot show that will certainly be in effect shortly when the NHL decides to do it. But we're not there yet, so we're going to focus tonight just on the games as normal. So we have 8 games, a lot of good ones. I'm doing real well here. Tuesday night, we're one day past Monday. That's always a good start. That's how you get through the whole week. So Matt, how are you doing?
Yeah, I mean, the people are just out here begging for a league that promotes itself as well as the NHL does to mix with a company that just is rock solid and always dependable. That company being Top Shots, that's just a match made in heaven, man.
Oh my God.
Dude,
oh my God. Downformaintenance.nhl.com. Get the domain now. It would be just, I just imagine like the boardroom of like Bettman and like Campbell and all those guys are like, hey, like this is the new thing, and they're like, what? Like Rutherford comes in, like what? Like they just have no idea.
They're like, so like the most expensive moments are like Nick Foligno, right? And people are like, no, and they're like, what?
Big hit from Greco Gudez, and they're just like, I'll invest all my ETH. I'm aping in. Like, all right, no, we can move on. Definitely, honestly, like hopefully a conversation for the future. We can get on that. If you have interest, like, don't hit us up because we don't know that much.
Elliot Friedman did hint at it though. So
did the article,
interesting.
Did the article come out yet? Because they talked about it on the podcast.
I didn't read it yet.
It did come out though. I haven't read it yet either.
So anyway, we have 8 games here on Tuesday. So, a nice slate to look forward to. Chris and Eric, had you well covered for a fun 7-gamer on Monday. So, just a real good go with things. So before we get into the 8 games here on Tuesday, I want to talk a little bit about Prize Picks. So prizepicks.com, you go there and you make entries picking player overs or player unders on fantasy score. New to the NHL product is actually a single stat contest. So, you can mix in, if you want to bet the over on saves for, say, whoever's on this slate, Laurent Brossoit, let's say, for Winnipeg, you can pick the over there, add that in one of your entries, use promo code MMN when you're signing it up. And that's just a really good partnership there. Actually, funny enough, I was on their YouTube channel for Prize Picks. So be sure to check that out as well. My boy Addy, we had a nice conversation, ran about 40 minutes, just talking about, DFS in general nowadays, some of my background, how DJ and I honestly both came to be here. So, really happy about the partnership we have with Prize Picks and would absolutely appreciate you guys heading over there, using code MMN when you sign up, and also heading over to their YouTube channel, giving my videos some love, get some likes, get some comments, get some engagement along with this one. So, DJ, anything else before we get into Tuesday?
No, I mean, we kick it right off with the Islanders at the Devils. I decided to wear a Clarkson jersey tonight for the fact that I randomly got this in a mystery box. Very, very great investment of $60 to get a David Clarkson jersey, just like his contract in Toronto. So if you're not seeing this jersey, you should get on our YouTube channel as well. Just get on YouTube and check it all out. But we'll get to the Islanders Devils. I mean, I think this game might get overlooked early on. It's kind of a clashing of two different sides. The Devils have really pushed pace overall on the season, at least. Not been great. The Islanders have slowed pace, and they've been a lot better as far as their record goes. So we're going to kind of have a clash here, a 5.5 over under. I think I'm going to slightly lean on the under. The Islanders have been really good at shutting teams down, but I think there's a lot of interesting spots in this game. I mean, the main one, I think we talked about it a little bit on the Morning Skate podcast, but Anthony Beauvillier, I was kind of hoping his met or maybe some more props for him, but he's been kind of like one of the top guys on this team, getting multiple, but 20 minutes and power play 1, and he's just very good. So maybe look around for stuff on him, but he might be the kind of the featured guy in this game as far as I'm concerned. Matt, I'll send it over to you though. That's kind of the big news for this game, but what are you thinking on this Islanders Devils game.
Yeah, all right. I got to circle back to the jersey talk, because you just said you wasted $60 on a David Clarkson jersey. Are you not the same person who spent like $180 on a Taylor Hall Buffalo Sabres jersy?
That is correct.
So yeah, just think about that. At least they got like a full season on David Clarkson.
Retro. I mean, it's okay. It's okay. I don't know. I'm still in the whole resigns camp. I don't know. Like, maybe I'm losing my mind, but like,
he said all the right things. I'll say that much. So anyway, I just found that hysterical that you were like, yeah, $60 on a David Clarkson, and you're just sitting there with your freaking Taylor Hall.
Have I wasted money in my life, Matt? Are you saying I?
Yeah. Anyway, it's been a thing with the Devils. I feel like this is not the first show where I've come on and said, a lot of pace to their games. And this is another spot where, yes, it's the Islanders. I know if they get, an early 1-0 lead, they'll try and put the clamp on this game and make it a 2-1 type finish. But geez, there's a lot of firepower here on both sides. I really like how they're using Beauvillier on that top power play unit. So, I lean toward the over here, honestly, myself. So, it's not my strongest bet of the night for sure, but it's certainly up there among one of my favorites from this game. The Beauvillier is definitely obvious. It's much more clear on DraftKings, where he's like 3,300 maybe. And, he has the same odds to score as Anders Lee. And, that's all you need to know. Like, he's that good to play. So, yeah, that's probably really it in terms of general news and notes. We're not expecting Nico Hischier to play. He took a puck to the face and experienced dizziness. So, hoping he's, not out long term. But, without him, Pavel Zacha, does he continue this 10-game point streak he's on? Like, what an animal, man. Like, I feel like we were just too early to the party on him. Because, he's really picked it up lately and been like an absolute rock solid contributor. So any other guys from this game that maybe sprinkle in some player props on or anything like that?
I mean, I think the Anders Lee stuff is pretty good. You're, minus 118 for a point for him, minus 118 for a point for Hughes, Palmieri, any of those three. I think it's pretty fair to say like coin flip, like, or do they get a point? Probably most nights, all three of them. Maybe I think Hughes probably my favorite of the bunch to get one singular point. Because I think he's probably the most talented player on the Devils offense right now. I don't think that's a strong take. Anders Lee, on the other hand, though, like I've mentioned every time we talk about them, that is their guy to shoot the puck. And it doesn't mean that he has to score the goal. And, you could bet on that. Obviously, you're getting better odds. But he shoots the puck, and there's a rebound, and who's there but Barzal? So, I mean, I think it's a pretty strong take that either of those two. I'm not, adverse to playing a guy like Palmieri, but I just think Hughes and Lee at the same exact pricing makes a little more sense. If you play it every night, any of these three, I think it's pretty strong. But I think Lee and Hughes are a little bit stronger. So those are two of my favorite on this game for sure.
Yeah,
shot props or.
Honestly, I don't really think there's a ton I love on the shot props here. You might be able to talk me into something like I guess Hischier's not playing, but if he were, I think you might be able to talk me into the over on his shots. But that's obviously I really would be shocked if he did. So not a ton that I like. If you're looking for something else besides the over in this game, I think I lean towards the Islanders money line here. Minus 141 just seems a little bit light just in terms of value. So, that's not anything too concrete, but I think there's some other, better conviction plays in these next upcoming games. So let's go over to Buffalo at the Rangers. The Rangers at minus 400 are a great value, but actually they're minus 157. But, sometimes it feels like the Sabres are just like complete, never going to win a game again. So
those 9 periods without a goal are speaking to you.
Yeah, and I was going to say, like, kind of interesting that a Rangers game is a 5.5 total, but yeah, you pretty much nailed it. It's entirely due to the Sabres. And there's not really much else to say. Like, they are not doing anything at 5-on-5, and when they continue to hit posts on the power play, they're not going to score goals. So really, you're betting on signs of regression from someone like Jack Eichel, who's shooting 3% this year. it's Jack Eichel shooting 3%. That's going to break. But also, Mika Zibanejad is shooting. You could tell me he's shooting in the negatives, which isn't even possible, but I would believe you. So,
no, it's not possible.
I just feel like the 5.5 is such a good over bet here, but it's the Sabres.
Yeah, I know.
So what do you do?
It is weird. Yeah, I agree. Like the 5.5 seems like such a strong bet. And, are the Sabres going to go 12, but be 12 periods on a goal? Probably not. But at this point, anything's possible with them. I think the main reason I like it is because, we're either going to see, and we probably are going to see Carter Hart in net. And I mean, he is broken beyond repair. The Sabres get a chance to pick up Alex Solak and decide to pass. And it's like, you got to be freaking kidding me. I don't think there's much of a chance that Omar comes back. I don't know he's on the IR, so I think it's like confirmed, but at least a month. So yeah, the Sabres, Omar was good, like 920 good, like very fair. And Hutton is a joke. So he is just riding that solid 896 save percentage, 1-5-1 record into this game as the Sabres hobble. If you think the Sabres should get 2 goals, I definitely think this game could go over. I do like it a good bit. I think, if you want to get crazy, I don't hate taking Taylor Hall or Jack Eichel to score. I don't hate taking Olofsson either. Because I think the Sabres will get out the snide, and these 3 guys see so much ice time and so much opportunity. And I mean, watching Jack Eichel hit the post 10 times in a game is a lot of fun, but eventually he's going to score again. And, you shouldn't get a guy of his skill at this price. On the Rangers side, I know, Matt, you wanted to talk a little bit about Colin Blackwell. So I'll pass it over to you here. He's not a great price point, but, I do think that there's a lot of, interest in him just because Panarin's out and Colin Blackwell, of all guys, is filled in. When we first talked about him, it was funny. We're like, yep, he must be a placeholder. And lo and behold, he might be one of their better rate shooters right now. So, Matt, I'll pass it to you on that note.
Yeah, he kind of came almost out of nowhere, like Colin Blackwell. But so far in the year, he has 8 points in 11 games. He's really come in, and in the 3 games without Panarin, he's put up a point in each of them. He has 10 shots total in those 3 games as well. So, you're not getting, especially on DraftKings, you're not getting like a shot prop on him or anything, but you're getting a guy who's playing right now, second line, top power play minutes, and you're getting him on daily fantasy sites for less than 4,000. You're getting him in a matchup against the Sabres. I even think there is a little bit of value on his to score prop at, plus 270. I think I would get a little bit crazier with it and just say maybe first goal 15-1. I just see it when I look, I watch him play and I'm just like, he looks good out there. So I can't really put a finger on it, but it is kind of crazy actually how quickly the sites have adjusted to his run of success. As we'll get to later, a guy like Tim Stützle, same sort of thing. He looks the part and he's just not getting the sort of, boost in odds that you would expect. So that's a little bit disheartening, but just in general, man, I think Colin Blackwell is actually pretty good, and I'm interested to see what happens when Panarin, hopefully returns in the near future, because he seems to have really carved out a spot for himself in this top 9 of the Rangers. So yeah, anything else from this game?
I guess the one weird-ish odd to me is that Dahlin's plus 100 to have a point. It's not incredibly likely, but if you think the Sabres are going to score, it's probably on the power play. That's the only time they ever score, and they only run 1 unit, most of them, not exclusively, but they give the first unit as much run as physically possible, and he's on the first unit. So, it kind of all leads to me to believe that, if the Sabres do get 2 or 3 goals and you like this game's over as much as we do, Dahlin could certainly be involved, and getting a guy with, plus 20 minutes of ice time first power play, defenseman or not, he's a quarterback for them. So him getting an assist seems a little bit more likely than they're giving him credit for.
Stat of the year before they got shut out on Sunday, the Sabres had the worst goals per 60 at 5-on-5 of any team since the tank Buffalo Sabres.
I was going to say,
they were worse. They were worse than that Sabres. Unbelievable. It is so bad right now. But yeah, there are a lot of signs that it's going to break. And I think a guy like Dahlin could, make a decent amount of sense. Or, your boy Jeff Skinner, maybe he scores.
I probably also fade the shot props, but I think it's really weird that Buchnevich 1.5 minus 200. Like, why did they even do that? Like, why don't
give us Adam Fox? Give us Adam Fox.
Or just like
Coward.
Or Blackwell, honestly. Come on.
All right.
Okay, but that could take us over to the Philly-Pittsburgh game, which has a lot more intrigue, a lot more, I guess, high event, at least Vegas, I believe so, with the 6.5. So I guess we'll start right there. Matt, what do you think about the 6.5? Do you like it? Are you in on it? I mean, I think most people are, I assume, somewhat in on it. Do you think it hits? I mean, I'm probably not going to touch the over-under on this one because, I think it's going to be kind of a one bounce type of game to get to 6.5. But, kind of a coin flip on the odds to win. I mean, I'm leaning Philly a little bit. I think they're the better team here. But, Matt, let's take it right to you. What do you think?
Yeah, I sort of also lean the Flyers side of things. They're basically back at full strength. It's kind of insane how expensive they are on daily fantasy sites. I mean, you think about a guy like James Van Riemsdyk, and we were talking about him 2 weeks ago. Like, 4.4, like he's getting pricey, but you just got to play him. And now he's 7.4. It's just like, man, like what are we even doing here? But it's just one of those slates where he's actually in play. Part of that is just due to the strength of that top line. Sean Couturier has been really, really good since he has come back from I believe it was COVID. It might have been an injury. Honestly, all the days, all the injuries, all the COVID things blend together at this point. But he's on a 5-game point streak and dating back to before he also, 6-game point streak, including 1 game before they sort of took that COVID pause. So it's an area who I just think that Sean Couturier is a really, really, really good player. So not necessarily for him, like his own stats, let's say, but like for the line around him, which is why we're seeing guys like Farabee and JVR get so expensive. But I do think that means there are player props that I would be interested in. So DJ, any thoughts there?
Yeah, no, I think, leading right into that with Couturier at minus 139 for a point seems pretty easy. I mean, Kevin Hayes at plus 100 for a point too. I don't hate that one. He was on their first power play unit. He's really expensive on DraftKings. I mean, I don't know if he really deserves it too much, but he sees a ton of minutes. He's a good enough player. I mean, I definitely like Couturier more, but I'm not, tied to it. Like, I think you could do either of them. I mean, Couturier is the best play, I think, like per dollar at center and like at the top of center, in my opinion. So like, I'm very high on it, but I don't really think that you could, decipher between them two being like this far off. I think you could play either of them. But as far as DraftKings is concerned, I'm definitely going to have that top line. I do think there's a chance we get Konechny back. I don't know if it's super duper likely, but it sounds like he's like, if it's not this game, it's next. So that could move things around a little bit, but game time decision, I'm kind of leaning towards him not playing, which would keep the lines the same, but definitely keep an eye on that because you definitely don't want to be jamming in like 6K Farabee and then find that Konechny is going to slip in that top line. But overall in this game, I definitely think I'm going to end up with at least 1 or 2 prop bets, including the point for Couturier. Maybe 1 or 2 with, if I end up getting crazy with some Hayes action, like this game 6.5, and you have a guy with a plus, bet seeing 20 minutes almost. It doesn't really add up to me. Is there anything you really like here prop wise?
Yeah, the player props, we talked a little bit about Couturier. I think I'm mostly staying away from these Pittsburgh guys. The one that I found a little interesting was to score first and win, like plus 163 for the Flyers to score first and win. Like Pittsburgh's really coming into this one reeling. Like they got absolutely shellacked by the Islanders. And it was only I think it was 2-0, maybe 3-0 with an empty netter, 2-0. But it was awful. Like it was just, they got completely suppressed. They had nothing going. This Flyers team is really, the Sabres are the Sabres, but some of that was just the Flyers being really, really, really good defensively too. So this is a team that I think we were both high on to begin the year. So to see them sort of as a pick 'em, they're on the road, but this Penguins team who we're not quite sure on, I think that's a good bet. And I also like that added value of them to score first and then pick up the dub. So we can go from there over to Detroit at Columbus. Columbus being the second largest favorite on the slate at minus 177. Detroit plus 150 if you're trying to take an underdog. So any thoughts on the sides of this game or the 5.5 over under?
I mean, I do like Columbus. I think Larkin is pretty much definitely out. It says he's out. So, I don't know though. Sometimes it says out and then they end up playing. So I'm not going to, take that completely to the bank, but Larkin being out really makes it look like Detroit just has almost, it feels like an AHL roster. I'm not saying that they couldn't win. Columbus is also not good, confirmed. But I really do like this Columbus first line a ton. It's going to be one of my favorite stacks of the night, without a doubt. I think I'll end up having a fair amount of line A to score props. He's been shooting a ton, not getting the luck. Plus 148 for a supreme goal scorer. I'm not saying that that's insane value, but it's not bad. They've definitely been giving the minutes to Atkinson, Line A, and Roslovic. If you can get any of them for a point, I think you could definitely consider that if you get good odds on it. Unfortunately, on DraftKings, you only get Line A and Atkinson, and they're minus 139, which is fine, but it's not that supreme kind of value. And taking Line A for 2 points is kind of like weird, but you could do it. Like he could get an assist, like he could pass instead of shooting, but he's been shooting a lot more. So, I like that first line a ton. I'm definitely going to have a lot of Line A and DFS. I think he's just a really good value at 6,700 on DraftKings to be a guy that, goes shot bonus, 2 goals, wins you a slate. Against Detroit.
So it's not, I'm looking at these player props because like I do sort of like this, Line A Atkinson pairing, but I do find it really interesting that even though you're getting plus money on Cam to go over 3.5 and, you're minus 155 to go over 2.5 for Line A, you just look at how their power plays operated with Line A in the fold. And with Atkinson and Line A together, they've played together for 24 minutes, not a huge sample. But we're sitting here looking at Line A taking 32% of this unit's shots and Atkinson only 14 when they're out there together. And that just sort of tells me like this line should probably be flipped. Line A should be just a, higher shots on goal than Cam Atkinson is. And I know 5-on-5 is a big part of it, blah, blah, blah. But, Line A is a shooter at 5-on-5 too. It's not that insane to think that, Roslovic will feed him just as much as he'll feed Cam Atkinson. So I think that this number on Patrick Laine might be my favorite, shot prop that I've seen to this point. It's more fun to bet on goals and bet on assists and multi-point games or whatever. You get plus 300 for a Patrick Laine, multi-point game. But I just want the safety of these shots. I feel like I just think that's too good a value for this, decrepit, awful Detroit team that's without 2 of their better players in Fabry and Larkin. It seems like so. That's
so you're more in the minus 155, 2.5 shot plus over the 1 point minus 139.
Yeah, that's how I feel about it. You never know when a goalie's going to goalie. That's just what I always come back to. Like, Bernier or Grice could just be great. I don't anticipate that.
Do that all the time.
But
sorry, I forgot about that. My bad. I'm sorry. I always forget.
Well,
about the one game every 3 months that they're great.
Yeah, well,
loading up on the shutouts with their great defense and awesome forward play, they're going to get. No, good point. I'm sorry. Well, so Sam Gagner can go for another hat trick. I think they should be just fine to get the win, but almost if that happens.
If I weren't contractually obligated to continue doing this, I would just give you the silent treatment here, DJ. So
all right, fine. Are you jamming in the Evgeny Stepsikov to score? I mean, dude, he gets all 10 minutes. I mean,
we were sitting here I think he was supposed to play on one of these show nights, and we were like, oh my god, Evgeny Svechnikov, when he gets in, this dude is a player.
Yep.
And he didn't get in that night. He comes in 2 games against Chicago over the weekend, kind of under the radar, Larkin out. Everyone's focused on that. All this guy does is come in and score a goal in each of his first 2 games. Is he the better Svechnikov?
Well, that's
no, he's not. But come on, he's a good player. But yeah, at that number plus 400, it's clearly pricing in this weekend, and that was more good luck than anything else. Because the minutes aren't there yet.
If put a gun to my head and you said take the longest like favorite long odd, it's Domestikov plus 430. Like he sees the minutes, he sees the power play time. He actually has been a great shooter. I'm probably not going to end up doing it. I just can't stomach it. But I think overall in this game, like if you're like take a guy plus 300 or more prop, like that's probably the best one.
All right. So yeah,
we talked enough about this game probably.
Yeah, it's honestly kind of garbage outside of that top line for Columbus.
It's like not a great game, and we're just like, oh boy, like I gotta get my Evgeny Stestikov taken here.
All right, so another 7:00 game, the last one, Montreal hosting Ottawa. Ottawa playing on a back-to-back, plus 220 underdogs, huge dogs. We've seen Ottawa do it. We've seen them do it in this almost exact circumstance, which got Julian, it was part of the reason Julian got canned apparently. So Ottawa's been plucky. I'll come out and say it. I think riding Ottawa here is a good thing to do. Minus 265 for this Montreal team against anyone. I just don't think I can do. I don't think there's enough finishing talent there to be worth those odds. I'll sprinkle in the plus 220 money line myself. But, before we get any more on that, also 6.5 over under. Like DJ, your thoughts here with Joey Decord potentially tending goal for the Ottawa Senators.
Yeah, Joey Discord.
Joey Discord.
Joey Discord. I will I'm not touching the money line. Just doesn't sound like fun to me. It sounds like pain. It seems like it's like I'm definitely wouldn't take Montreal minus 265. Sounds like a very big waste of money. But then on the other side, Ottawa, like I trust them 0%. Just nothing. I mean, that is not what I'm doing. So yeah, the 6.5 I think is a little bit more enticing to me. I do like it a good bit. Because I think that both teams are super susceptible to giving up goals in bunches. I think that I'm not going to touch any of that though. It doesn't sound like a lot of fun. It's just Tim Stützle at plus 420. I mean, why? Like I was saying to Matt, like you could also take Joseph Blandisi at plus 400 if you want worse odds, or Jake Evans.
Good old Joey.
I mean, I'm not trying to like besmirch the great names here, but like 420, I just don't get it. Like, am I missing something? Like he's playing 20 minutes. He's playing power play 1. He shoots a good amount. I mean, like I've been trying to get his shot props. Tonight was like the first time in a long time. I don't think he hit it. He's like confirmed very good at hockey and likes to shoot the puck. I do not understand. This is like one of the more, and like, it's been like this all season. And like, I've said it before, kind of in passing, like, oh, maybe check this out. Like this could, I'm in on it. Like I am smashing it like that. This is where I take a big bet on something like this. I mean, you get crazy with me. You want to get crazy, put $100 on it, get $520 back if he scores. I mean, I don't know if you want to do that, but I might, honestly, I'm considering it. Like I'm very actively thinking like, let's do it. Like him with like that Patrick, or maybe like, you take that with like 2 other things like Patrick Laine and like one, like shots and like one other thing that feels decently safe, put like 25 on it. But like, that is wild to me. In a 6.5, a guy that's going to see optimal ice time and great situational minutes.
Yeah, so I mean, we should also talk about the 5-on-5 unit he played with tonight, being Josh Norris and Drake Batherson. Like that's exactly what we want to see. Obviously, Brady Tkachuk not being a part of that's kind of a downer. But Tkachuk also had a good night of his own, and Stützle will get with him on the power play. So I feel like by tomorrow I'll be able to talk you into riding this Joey Decord death train in DFS with me, 6.7. I just don't see it. I don't really understand this money line. I don't understand the DraftKings price. Like Montreal should get 35 saves or get him 35 saves.
I was going to say they'll shoot a ton.
Get the win. So, and also if Matt Murray goes, Murray's been playing pretty well. So yeah, call me crazy, but that's where my head's at right now. So, other guys here, Montreal is a good play still. I'm certainly not ruling them out in my DFS builds or anything like that. The main area that I'm, looking at is Tyler Toffoli. So he is back on the line with Nick Suzuki and Jonathan Drouin. They are 5-on-5 correlated, obviously. They are power play correlated. Drouin, great passer. Nick Suzuki, great passer. Tyler Toffoli, that boy's a shooter. We worry about some of Toffoli's finishing talent. Well, let me tell you something about Ottawa's goaltending. it certainly is susceptible to leaks. So not too worried about that either for Mr. Toffoli. So I think that he's one of the best prices in this game, just to score, even at plus 150. I think that's a really, solid number to get him at. And I also think to get him, to score a point or getting his shot prop is just a really good way to go about things. So
I agree. Minus 177, but I think this new line really sets up for him. So if you are taking, a pretty sizable, like 5-6 parlay, it's just very, I'm not going to say nothing's safe ever. I mean, a guy could hit 2 posts and just ruin you. So but overall, definitely, that's a great pick. That's very sharp with the new lines. And like we talked about it with Montreal, we're like, man, they really might give more minutes to the top guys. And,
turns out Gallagher's maybe not their top guy.
It's not Gallagher. They actually decided it was Toffoli, Suzuki.
I loved Chris Meany live tweeting the Winnipeg game where Gallagher played 13 minutes and then Phil Deneau started the overtime and they got scored on. That was just beautiful. Being a Sabres fan, you just love to, relish in other teams, a misery as well. So that was just, something that I was like, yeah, dude, I gotta rub some dirt on it.
It's great times, but yeah, no, I mean, really, like the benefactor was at the Foley line. So just go with it. I mean, that's what Dominic, I feel like his name was actually super easy to say.
Lashushin?
No, the new coach.
Dominique Ducharme or whatever.
Ducharme. That's right. Ducharme. Yeah. Ducharme. That's exactly. Yeah. Because I think like his mentality is like that's the line. And, I even like could talk myself into a 2-goal game from Toffoli or something, but what is it? Plus 1,100. I mean, I'm not opposed to that. Like, I think that's like, he might shoot the puck 7 times on that. I think that's very within the realm of possibility. So, Matt?
That's a little bold, but let's go from there over to Carolina at Nashville. So, Carolina coming off of a back-to-back here. They are slight road favorites at minus 125, 5.5 over-under on this game. So my first thought here was just, it honestly feels like any game of Carolina just pops to me in terms of the over-unders. And they, looking at some of their game logs and stuff, they haven't really gotten like, crazy high scoring games or anything, but I think it's coming, this game against Florida was a lot of fun, even if 3-2 finish, but that was a lot of fun. You just see so much tempo in these games. You just think, man, if these guys can just score on some of their glorious chances, that it's coming. So my immediate thought here is just a really nice over. We know Nashville's had troubles in net, and they have some guys we like too. So what are your thoughts on this one?
I mean, Nashville gave up a hat trick to Sam Gagner, so you can definitely talk me into this game being over, and you can tell me any Carolina player is going to score, and I'm in on it. So yeah, I agree. I think Carolina is a pretty strong bet on this one, and I definitely like the over. I think the pace should be there. I'm really on both sides, and I think it's really easy to see where it's going to be. On the Nashville side, where it isn't quite as clear exactly where you want to go for Carolina. And it's, that Forsberg line, Forsberg, Yossi, and Eli Tolvanen. Am I saying that completely correct? Eli Tolvanen? Is it Tolvanen?
I'm pretty sure it's Tolvanen, yeah.
But, Tolvanen, yeah. I said Tolvanen. I'm like, I'm putting an extra letter in there that like does not exist. Tolvanen, plus 400 to score. It's not the safest bet in the whole history of the world, but he is seeing first power play run. He is a shooter. He's pretty good. I'd like to see a few more minutes before I start to, betting the house on anything crazy.
I'll tell you what's crazy is that I feel like he almost is a post-hype prospect at this point, which is nuts because he's a 99 birth year. He's 21 right now. And he's played 2 years in the AHL. And in those 2 years, he was really, really good. He put up 3 shots a game in the AHL, which is just to me one of the best indicators of a guy who's going to be fantasy relevant. So, of course, we're not getting like a shot prop on him on DraftKings or anything, but just when it comes to scoring goals, you got to be in positions to shoot and you got to shoot. And he shoots well. And yeah, you mentioned him on the top line and the top power play. I'm all in. Like just,
Right.
take all my chips, push them to the center of the table. Like it's Tolvanen time.
Yeah.
So
I had it on, what was it, Sunday bet, right? I had the goal in my bet and it hit, and then Jack Hughes neglected to get a point. He decided that wasn't in the cards for him that night. So
no.
Very sad. But for further to the point, these 1 point plus on DraftKings. I mean, we have Yossi and Hamilton both at -118, Forsberg -125, Sveshnikov -139, Aho. I mean, are any of these jumping off the page to you? I mean, I don't know if one of these defensemen is a little bit more enticing, being as they are awesome at the game of hockey.
I really like Dougie. I just, you see him play. He's just always getting up, getting involved. You can make the same argument for him and Yossi, honestly, but I just prefer the Carolina side slightly more. So at the same odds, I'm just going with, the Dougie. I think that my favorite bet here is the shot prop on Andrei Svechnikov. It's what we do every time, but
we always pencil that one in. It's just
it's
fun.
I pull up my silly little natural stat trick and I sort by iCourse per 60, and Svechnikov just keeps rising. He's one of the top 20 dudes in the league. It's frankly insulting that he's basically even money to go over 2.5 shots on any night. We should note that, for DFS correlational purposes, he did skate with Vinny Trocheck at 5-on-5 today. So they did start the overtime together as well. So, nice little 1-2 correlation there for those two guys, top power play as well. But yeah, just Svechnikov, his shot prop is one of the easiest bets I make on a nightly basis. So, I'm continuing to do that here.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I have it in more often than I don't. I had him to score tonight, though, which was a grave mistake instead of doing the shot prop, because I was like, I just like the odds on it. It felt really good to me. And you know what? We live, we learn, we move on. We're going to be better for it in the long run. So is there anything else you want to touch on this game, or do you want to get over to the Vancouver-Winnipeg rematch?
Yeah, no, we can go back to Vancouver at Winnipeg. Winnipeg -139 favorites here, 6.5 over under. I wish I could just pull up on the screen right now my message in the Morning Skate podcast Discord, where I posted in sort of all the expected goals trends. And I basically just summarized it by saying Winnipeg is trash, because I was finally right. And of course, I don't have any Thatcher Demko to capitalize on that on Monday's slate. So, that's it's really hard to outperform your expected goals over a long-term sample like Winnipeg is doing. They are 17-3. I'm guessing that's 17-4 now against the spread.
You didn't say
how. I just don't get it. They just, so I'm siding with Vancouver here. They've been super unlucky. They played well, it's obviously a 4-0 win, but they played really well Monday. They've played honestly pretty well, in the run up to it. I love to say Vancouver is also bad. But Vancouver was playing some pretty good hockey and just getting really unlucky. So, I'm on the Vancouver side. I think I'm on the under, but what are your thoughts?
I agree. I mean, I don't know if I'm going to end up taking it personally, but I do think that I'm a little bit on the under. And I guess, if I was going to take either side, I would just take the Vancouver for the positive, money line. I do think that this is a pretty even matchup. Could be a coin flip. It should be a little bit closer to the center, and it just isn't. And it might be a little bit of recency bias. We just saw them, 4-0 win, kind of get back to that regression we were talking about. So it's definitely worth taking, I think. But I think that there's just a lot of value in these shot props. We have pretty much all of them as a positive value here. I'm not touching Wheeler. Pettersson just missed. He had the one shot on goal, empty netter. But Scheifele, Horvat, I think Scheifele is a fair enough play here. He is the most expensive player on DraftKings. It's not every game he's going to get 2.5 shots. Honestly, over the course of the year, he doesn't get that super often. So it's a little bit tough to take, but I do think that there's reason to believe this game should have good pace. So I'm thinking about trying to zone in on one of these. I don't know if it'll be Shifley. I don't know if it'll be Horvat at the same price. But there's one of these. I'm going to try to really crunch the numbers, look into the game logs, try to figure out exactly where I want to find it. But if I am taking anything in this game, I think it probably ends up coming down to them if I don't trust the over.
Yeah. So, frankly, I think one thing that I'll bet on in the aftermath of this game is that Kyle Connor gets moved back up with Mark Scheifele. I'm not a coach. That's not going to happen for sure. But that plus his power play role just in general, I think makes me like the most his over of 3.5 shots. So I think that's one thing that we could, sorry, I don't know what I said, but plus 130 on that. I think it's just, solid value. Like they are clearly feeding him on the power play. I love getting guys like that. So just taking a quick look at the game they just played, when shit hit the fan, they went to Stastny with Scheifele and Wheeler and then moved Dubois to center Connor and Ehlers, which is kind of interesting. I don't think they will continue that, but maybe they do, which could make you think, Paul Stastny to score a goal or something like that could be a decent number at plus 310, given his power play role, given that 5-on-5 role. But yeah, I think just in general, like buying Kyle Connor and this relative dip, I think is probably the move I'm going to make here.
Yeah, honestly, that plus 130, honestly, for him to get over 3.5, but it's probably just an easier bet than closer to even money for Scheifele. So yeah, I think that might be the right way of looking at this. I think that Kyle Connor might be the most fun way of going about this shot. I like that shot prop a lot.
Yeah,
looking at it a little bit more, they're definitely trying to get him the puck to shoot. Like that. Yeah. That's where they're going.
And if you can look past a recency bias of Elias Pettersson sort of drying up a little bit his last few games, on the full season sample, his shot numbers have been very good. So plus 120, using longer term look is definitely a good value there too for him. So anything else on this game?
No, I don't think I'm missing anything there, right? No, I think that's probably, that probably does it here.
Okay, so anything else? Last game of the night, we have Tampa at Dallas. This is an 8:30 start, so I love these slates. The last game's over. It's 11:15 on the East Coast. You just climb into bed and you do it all again the next day. You're not a zombie going to bed at 1:30 after a 10:30 game. So Tampa at Dallas. Dallas got smoked 5-0. Tampa had them so easily in the bag that Andre Palat played 9 minutes.
Yeah.
This game was over basically from puck drop. So in this one, on the road, Tampa minus 165. DJ, what are your thoughts there?
Yeah, recency bias is like super duper strong. I do still, going into the season, I kind of had the Dallas missing the playoffs narrative. So I like to pat myself on the back early on, although they played like 10 games, it feels like. I know the actual number is more than that, but they played by far the least amount of games. So it's a little tough to see, could you talk me into a Dallas bounce back? Like, I don't think that they're completely inept. So it's fair, but I still like the Tampa side a good bit. I don't know, over under, it's a coin flip again. I just don't think I'm going to bet on either of these, money line or total. Personally, I don't feel strongly enough to put money on Tampa at minus 165. Just feels like you're just not getting a very good value there. Nor do I feel super strong about either of these offenses. As we saw with Tampa, like you said, they got up and they just shut it down. They just said, all right, fine, let's run our third and fourth line and, rest our starters, which is a very weird move. So, I'm just not going to play that. I think I'd rather just kind of get in on some of these shot props. Honestly, overall, this game is just not my favorite to even go bet on in general. Just not going to be overweight on any of this. I think if I'm making a parlay, I'm not saying it's a good game I'm not going to touch at all, but just not that interested, overall. But I think that DraftKings, there's a decent amount of cheaper value here and some guys that look into a little bit more. But are there any news or notes that you wanted to touch on, or any player props or anything that you're a little bit heavier on?
Yeah, so for the Tampa side, Tyler Johnson is now where Blake Coleman was last week on that top line with Palat and Point. So obviously the big note is that that's not Steven Stamkos. Given Stamkos's, general prowess, I don't think that's a huge deal. but does make me slightly, shying away from, say, the, over 2.5 shots at minus 155 for Stamkos. Tyler Johnson being on that line actually does make me like Braden Point's shot prop a bit more. As we know, Blake Coleman is a guy who just vacuums up shot attempts. And, without him at 5-on-5, Tyler Johnson is much more a playmaker. Andre Palat this season has transitioned to be much more a playmaker. I think Braden Point at over 2.5 minus 106 because of those, couple pieces of news. I think that makes that a very strong value, relative to some of these other offerings listed.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the shot props to me, I think they're pretty thin. I'm not super duper high in anyone. I think Point, like you said, is decently fair. That's probably not where I'm going to end up going with this. I'd rather just like take one of these point props. The Tampa ones are really tough to stomach. You're not getting a ton of value on it. I don't mind Braden Point at minus 177. I think that's pretty, decent. Like they're dominant at 5-on-5 and they all play like that power play units, Point's going to be on it. So I think it's fair enough to go with that, but 177 isn't great value. I could, I think that Pavelski, I keep like kind of talking myself into it, or Klingberg, but I'm not betting on them getting too many goals. Like I kind of think this game is like a 2-2, 3-2 finish type of game, where the empty net could pop it over the 5.5, which is why I just don't like it that much. So that's kind of why it's like I'm not super strong at anything, but if I'm gonna include it in the parlay, I'm just gonna jam in Braden Point minus 177. Think that they get a goal early, because they're just gonna dominate whoever they play against, like they always do.
Yeah. Tampa's freaking good, man.
It's just really good. I know it's.
Yeah.
So that's basically I'm not very high on this game, and I'm just not sure if I want to put my money on it in general, because I just don't. After Tampa did this crazy garbage where they just sat their starters, I don't have a lot of faith in, and just like thinking like, oh, I'm gonna put my money on this, and then think that like I'm gonna get out the value that I put in. So
all right, so that's all 8 games here. We're gonna recap quickly some of our favorite bets from this slate of action. I will lead it off with Mr. Svechnikov, Andre, of course, because now there's 2 guys to worry about. But yeah, that shot prop on him is just too low. I really like that one. So DJ, do you have one that you just, are going to find yourself coming back to, come Tuesday night?
Do you want to guess, or do I need to say it?
Tim Stützle plus 400 to score a goal.
And 20. Plus
420.
Goal, Matt.
That's right. I'm sorry.
It's Bob Marley's birthday. How dare you disrespect? Yeah, no, it's right there. Yeah, I'm jamming it. I don't care what anyone says.
Hey, can't fault that. That's a really good number. Frankly, again, I'm just surprised it's sat there for so long. So, and I'm certainly all in on him. My Calder bet looking worse by the day as, Kaprizov continues to smash, but man, Stützle is going to get the runner up, and I'm going to be so upset about that.
Dollar Bill Krill. I want to buy the shirt, but I don't know like where they actually come from. I tried to look him up. Did you look at, the shirt I'm talking about? I'll show you after.
Okay.
Look it up too. Dollar
let's see. My honestly, this underdog bet of the night, Ottawa plus 220. The value there is just really, really strong. I would be surprised if a lot of the sort of analytics type models I look at have this anywhere close to that number as well. So I'm going to jump on it. Maybe it gets larger if, Decord gets confirmed starting and Montreal creeps toward minus 300. But man, I don't know. I just don't see how many sharp people are putting all this money on Montreal at this point. So give me plus 220 for Ottawa.
Yeah, I mean, I'm picking any of these team money lines. I'm taking Carolina minus 125. It's too close to that. That, and then the line A shot prop. That's the other one that I'm very in on as well. So
yeah, I could definitely see.
I'll throw in a third because I didn't get a shot prop in there.
Yeah, shot prop. Just throw Braden Point in there too. I feel really good about Tyler Johnson. Again, you talk about the minutes. Yeah, that's not great, but also I don't think Dallas is going to get absolutely shellacked yet again.
Yeah,
I think there is something there. I think they're a good team. I think we should really just assume that game is a complete outlier, and that Point gets his normal 18, 19 minutes. And I think
so this is a good transition then. We're going to get over to DraftKings. I mean, there's a number of people that will kind of follow they'll look at the game log and they're going to say, Braden Point, what did he get hurt? What the heck happened? He only had, 10 minutes. So Are you considering that at all? Like thinking like, you know what, Tampa 1 could go super underowned on an 8-game slate. Point, Stamkos, Palat. I mean,
absolutely.
I don't think we talked about it much, but I think it's very, honestly, good game theory right there.
Yeah, Braden Point is 6.4. Andre Palat is 5,000. Like, I don't really even want to play Tyler Johnson, but he is just super cheap as well, 3,600. So yeah, I think, if I'm playing 10 lineups, I'm definitely going to fire off, at least one of them with that Tampa 1 stack, maybe throw on a Victor Hedman. Because I agree. I think it will be overlooked. And I do think it's, just a really good value spot, especially on, Palat Point, that mini stack.
Yeah. All right. Well, we can get to our favorite stacks of the night. I know that's might not be one of your, if you're making 1 or 2 lineups, a guarantee. So is there one stack that right now, I know it's a little bit early, that's standing a little bit above the rest?
Yeah. This is one of those slates where honestly the answer to that question is a resounding no. And I think that's what makes it so fun. There's no McKinnon, there's no Matthews, there's no McDavid, that you basically have to build your lineup thinking, I'm giving up a ton of equity to this specific player. So with that in mind, I'm willing to take stands on guys who I really believe in. And I think that this Eeli Tolvanen guy, I want all of it. So yeah, the Philip Forsberg and Roman Josi are 2 of the best plays on this slate. And you just sort of offset their cost with the price of Tolvanen being so low. So give me that 3-man stack is one of my favorites of this slate.
Yeah. I mean, this one is seemingly really, really easy for me. You have a team playing against Detroit. You have a team that's giving more minutes to this line that all correlates on the power play in Rostovich, Line and Atkinson. They've been this Columbus team has just been unlucky. I mean, unlucky and losing. Patrick Line without a point in 3 games. It doesn't seem like that's going to continue that trend. Atkinson 1 point in 3 games. I think that they explode for 3. All 3 of them together. If you're getting crazy, if you're getting absolutely wild, if you're going for 4, Werenski was back. I'm trying to look what they did for the power play.
Seth Jones was at the power play.
Seth Jones.
But again, it was Seth Jones. I'm willing to play Werenski there because I think that they're you say they're unlucky, I say they're bad. Tomato. It doesn't really matter in terms of the run.
I kind of said unlucky, and I was like, ooh, that was a little bit not what I meant exactly, because they are bad too. But the first line I meant was that unlucky.
Yeah. So, as far as an under the radar stack, I think you really have to consider both sides of this Buffalo Rangers game. I think people will play the Rangers side. I'm not so sure people come back yet again to Jack Eichel. And, it's been tough. He's been bad. But you're looking again at a slate without a lot of these elite tier players. Eichel is one of those guys, his entire career. So he's 7,200 on DraftKings. You would expect him to play at 5-on-5 with Olofsson and Reinhart. And they've been 4 or 5% on 6-game slates lately, and they've continued to get worse. They've gotten shut out twice in a row. I think you see them on an 8-game slate. Again, 3-4% owned. Yeah, I'm getting over on that. It's going to happen sooner than later. Eichel's too good for it to not come to fruition. So yeah, I think that the Eichel stack is one that I'm really heavily targeting on Tuesday, for better or for worse.
Yeah, I hate the Sabres so much. I can't even talk about them. But I think kind of a very, 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 very cheap 2-man stack that I'm a little bit in on. We talked a little bit on it, but it's Anthony Beauvillier.
Yep. And
he did play, it's 5-on-5. You could talk me into it. He played with Nelson and Bailey. Nelson, I think, is fair enough. But Nelson and Bailey aren't in the same power play with him. Noah Dobson is, on the other hand.
Was it not Polak?
Not the last game. No.
Really? Okay.
He didn't play either. Well, he got power play. No, I think he mixed in. So they had Dobson and then Polak came in, I think, so I don't know. I guess it could be either of them. I'd have to look at the entire game because they both played some power play run. But I mean, Noah Dobson is not a minutes guy. I honestly, really, if you want, I think you just play Polak, and people might not see, they might just see he didn't start that game on the power play. He sees huge minutes. He has been pretty He hasn't had a goal yet, first off, and his shot's unreal. Second off, he's had 25-minute games like over and over again and hit the shot bonus a couple times. So just Pulock and Bavillier.
Yeah, so we've definitely covered a lot of DFS relevant topics here. If you want to hear us cover the slate more in depth, head on over to the Morning Skate podcast, where we spent 45 minutes talking through the slate in depth. So yeah, I think that'll just about do it. Anything else you want to say before we go, DJ?
Yeah, I did have one question for you, Matt, before we go. I just want to know, are you wearing a polo with all three buttons buttoned up?
No.
Oh, one is not buttoned. Okay.
It's not even a polo. It's like a.
What is that? I just all of a sudden I looked and I was so confused about the shirt you were wearing. And if people aren't watching the YouTube, they need to get on right now. I need to know more.
A shirt. What?
Is this a shirt?
I'm wearing. I think it's called a Henley. It might be a Henley or something.
Sure, with chest hair. Okay, no, I just want to make sure because people that aren't watching the YouTube need to get on. And I was just very confused because I thought at first we were going to get a athletic shirt, and then I saw the buttons, and I was very confused. And I'm wearing a David Clarkson jersey. I am in a glass house throwing stones, but.
Speaking of glass and David Clarkson, yeah. Anyway, thank you for that question. If you have any listener questions, preferably not about my choice of clothing, feel free to add us on Twitter. I am at Fake Moods. DJ's at DJ_Mitchell94.
Fashion Moods.
Right there. And also leave a comment on the YouTube. I'm trying to go in there more. It's definitely a venture that I think we need to just sort of commit ourselves to because, you get busy throughout a day and you think, oh man, I gotta, check in there. But the easiest way to get in contact with us is through Twitter. But again, we love the engagement wherever it comes from and, hope to be in touch with, a lot of the listeners. So one more thing, big thanks to our sponsor Prize Picks. Be sure to head on over there. Use code MMN when you sign up and stay tuned to the Twitter feed of the Mayo Media Network to see some of our favorite picks from the Tuesday slate of games. So,
and lastly, just also FTN Daily, FTN Bets. Don't forget about them. Don't forget about Meanie and the other guys doing the shows on the rest of the days of the week. Check them out as well.
Yeah, always good stuff here on the Mayo Media Network. Fantasy Hockey Picks and Bets feed. So rate, review, subscribe. Do all that. I'm Matt. That's DJ. Thanks, Prize Picks. We are out.